Okay. Good to know that will happen after it happens. So Diddy has really severe bounce back. Yeah, so that's not a good strategy to do. Hey, it's Solveron! What's up? Have not seen you for a while. Hopefully things are well. Am I having fun with this game? No. Actually, this is my least favorite of the trilogy for the Super Nintendo. And I'm doing kind of like what I did with Metal Gear Solid series last year, where I did 1 through 5. I decided, yeah, let's do Donkey Kong Country, and we'll do those games. And I am quickly regretting it. Okay, so the guys can't do it all. Yeah, so I am terrible at this game. Oh yeah, it is not a good game, in my opinion, which I know that I am of the minority, because a lot of people love this game. Looking at the replay. No, I didn't fall through the geometry. Yeah, a lot of people love this game, and I just don't. Because they made this game extremely hard. It's not the hardest Super Nintendo game I've ever played, but they made it really hard because the complaint about the first game was, well, it's too easy. So they figured, okay, we're going to ramp it up. And you have a lot of these like vertical levels where you can't see where you're jumping half the time instead of going platforming left to right. So the game's not really designed for verticality with how they built these levels. So it's a fight like that constantly. And then also you'll have cheap enemy placements where all of a sudden you'll have an enemy running off screen, and if you haven't died to it before, or haven't played through the game in a long time, you're just going to smash right into it. Do I look better now that I've done with grad school for good now? Excellent. Doing the first quiet weekend and doing nothing the first time in 4 months. Oh yeah, that's always good. Now, Donkey Kong Country 3 did up the verticality, but they built the levels a lot better. This game has a lot of parts where if you miss a jump, you can fall all the way down to the beginning of the level. You can be almost done, miss a jump, and you can end up at the very, very start of the level. Donkey Kong Country 3 had verticality sections, but they were limited. Like if you fell down or missed a screen, missed a jump, you'd maybe fall 1, maybe 2 screens, and that would be it. So it wasn't that huge of a penalty if you had missed something. And this game is just like there are a couple levels where it said quite literally you miss a jump and you are back at the very beginning. So I actually I like Donkey Kong Country 3 better than 2. By a lot. A lot of people don't like Donkey Kong Country 3, but I think it's actually a pretty good game. It actually did improve a lot from this game. They fixed a lot of their mistakes with that. But not a lot of people played it because it was like 1996 when that came out. So I remember playing that game, renting it, when I had a Nintendo 64, or right before it came out. Well, Kiddy Kong is just Donkey Kong. That's all he is. Because basically they kept replacing the characters with whoever was more popular. The first game, it was Donkey Kong and Diddy. Diddy was more popular, so they got rid of Donkey. Then they put in Dixie. Dixie was more popular than Diddy, so the next game, Diddy, got the axe. Dixie won forward. Then they realized, crap, we don't have anybody else to put in here. Let's bring back Donkey Kong, but we'll just call it Baby instead. It's the same moveset and speed. But yeah, it is kind of derpy looking. But, I mean, it's pretty much straight up just Donkey Kong. Just would not grab onto the rope. Also, Dixie has this really kind of weird throwing arc whenever she tosses something. Blind jump. That was dumb. No, she winds up and then she throws it and it goes a lot farther than you think it's going to. Like, it's got a higher arc. So if the water catches up to you, you're hosed. You can't get past it. Because I was going as fast as I could and the game's like, nope, too slow. And this game will do that a lot to you. Wouldn't grab onto the rope again. Hey, King Relic. Welcome. You've missed me. Game over already. And also the realization that I do own a Game Genie. Oh yes, I love Donkey Kong Country 2. All those things about saying how much I really hate the game, all lies, complete and total lies. Especially like how it keeps charging you nickels and dimes you before, like, basically to save or travel anywhere. It's DLC before DLC was a thing. However, you can farm it. Oh, no doubt, you're definitely going to see more game over screens. So yes, it costs 2 coins to save. Your coins do not carry over whenever you save. So if I were to, like, I have 6 right now, because I just spent 2 of them. If I turn off or restart my Super Nintendo, I lose all the coins. I have to go find more. No, it could have kept him. Get over here. What is wrong with you? Okay. Did I... Nope. I was like, did I just glitch up the system? No. Oops. I'm gonna make it. Do you tell him just wasting time? Oh yes, it's a barrel full of laughs. So that's what we all need in our platformers, is a puzzle. Kids love those. And so do adults. This is what they say, it's like, please have a midpoint level, like a checkpoint, please, somewhere. Thanks, game. Okay, so those will kill you. Good to know. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. Hey, Nimics. Come to see the quote-unquote fun. Yes, all my complaining about this game, complete and total ruse. All misdirection. Okay, so that's the limited one. I bet speedrunners absolutely love this level. They're like, oh yeah, I love this one. So great. Can't wait to get to this level. Manhilsbrand, your heart burns. Do you think it's just like from all the work you're doing, or stress, or just eating a whole bunch of hot peppers? Well, Nimix, the thing is, though, if you do leave, yeah, I'm presuming you're probably in a good position just to be able to walk into any other job, pretty much. Hopefully. There's nothing that always stressed me out even more than being unemployed. Okay, can't hit him. Oh, okay, so he's gonna drop a TNT barrel. Okay. Okay. He's gonna move to another computer where we can't get tracked for all that pornography. The weird type you can't send through the mail. Oh, I'm rocking the, like, casual world record right now. It's not a very well played category, but it is a good one. I mean, certain games, I am still setting amazing casual records. Like, Quackshot, I'm somewhere around 27 years so far. Why are you not dead? Jeez, this boss fight just goes on forever. Nope, never caught up to B on Quackshot. Never caught up to Gym Time John. Still haven't beaten that game. No, you should. It's a good game. It's fun. No, Genesis, that doesn't slow you down. There's this wonderful thing called emulation. It's been around for many years now. I would say probably about 23, 24 years. Don't need a Sega Genesis. Just need an emulator and a ROM and you are all set. And dead. Nope, just barely survived. Why are you not dead? Jeez. Really? By day, Solveron works IT. By night, Gigolo Assassin. Well, how about high-priced Gigolo Assassin? Finally. Yes, definitely not Juggalo. That's fighting words. I don't know, Juggalo is funnier. Maybe we went to the school of Mortal Kombat. Yeah, exactly, Sol. You know, Solveron and I are on the same wavelength here. Huge Mortal Kombat fans. Maybe they were hooked on phonics. I mean, people are all talking about getting hooked on drugs and stuff, but what about hooked on phonics? Those things are brutal. Alright, so Nimix asks, how can I obtain a degree in Wurzelology? Well, one, it's a multi-step process. Multi-step process. One, be on a lot of drugs. A lot of good drugs. Two, be on even better drugs. Three, be a smartass. And number 4, the most important part, you need to input your credit card number, social security number, and also the 3-digit number on the back of your credit or debit card into chat. And then I can mail you the results of your diploma for Warzology. You may not get hired anywhere for it, but the experience and life points are going to be very valuable. Also, by the way, I'm not really accredited. I'm supposed to, state that by law. It's like, please be a DK barrel. Oh, it never expires. Another John Doe. That seems to be a really popular name for credit cards. I actually had that come up once. Person's like, I don't know why this credit card not running through. Because we were taking a call for one of our clients, and they were upset. Like, this vendor was really upset that this card was not going through. I'm like, what's the expiration date? He kept reading it off. He's like, it's supposed to work. You guys' service is crap. I'm like, the card expired 10 years ago. Why did you not catch that? It's like, oh. I was like, well, you need... He's like, well, what do I do now? Like, they're not here anymore. I'm like, you took their credit card information and you let them leave? It was like a restaurant. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking to myself, I didn't say this part out loud, but I was thinking to myself, 9 out of 10 businesses failed the first year. This guy's gonna go under quite fast. And I thought that was just gonna be like a one-off, but no. Restaurants have a bad habit of doing that. Yeah, it was the owner. And it was the manager, and he was like really upset about it. He's like, what am I supposed to do about this? It's like, well, why did you let them leave without paying their bill? And I thought that was just going to be a one-off, but it happened a couple more times to different restaurants. The server's like, oh, because the card keeps getting rejected, and either it's stolen, or it's expired, something like that, and they just never think to check it, and they're just like, and they keep coming back, and the person there is like, oh, just run the card again, and then they'll say something along the lines of, this is really embarrassing, can we just run it through later? And they're like, yeah, no problem, it's probably a system thing, and it's a bogus card, or it's stolen, or anything like that. People are dumb. So Solveron asks, how are you so good at getting to the game over screen? I can never get to it in this game. Well, it takes a lot of dedication. It really helps if you don't play the game for at least 25 years. If you play it within 24 years, you're going to be a pro. You're going to be like Solveron, you're going to be speedrunning it. When the system's off, you'll be setting new world records. But as soon as you turn it on, then it's not going to work. But it takes dedication, perseverance, fentanyl, a lot of fentanyl. A lot of fentanyl. But yeah. I mean, but can you do the casual world record like I'm doing? The casual world record for speedrunning. That is the true dedication. Now, Mike Hunt, I've seen that before on the card, but also Ben Dover likes to use that number too. Or Mike Roch. It seems everybody has the same card numbers. Alright, that should be enough. Yeah, sorry, I already saved. I'm pretty sure I already saved. We'll just do it again. Just burn it. Make sure. There you go. King Relic's got the right spelling. Crazy Kremland. I think this is the like roller coaster levels, kind of like what they did for the minecart levels. Remember a couple of them being here, so we'll see how this goes. For me. And I'm presuming that the audio levels are just fine, because no one's told me to speak louder or quieter or turn up the game volume. Oh good, so you get stuck in honey in this level. But... Aha! Take that! They didn't think about this. I remember this from years ago. So if you're carrying your partner, it's fine. If you try to go other ways, you just keep getting stuck. It's some weird thing that they forgot to program in. So if you're carrying, walk right through. I don't know how that works, but apparently it was some kind of oversight. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Try and do the float. Does not want to do it. Oh, that gets rid of him completely. Okay. I was thinking maybe I can, like, angle him just right, land in the barrel. No. Alright, hang tight for a second. We're gonna look at these lovely bars. I'm telling you, man, it takes skill. True gamers, that's how you see it. Interesting. I had the first Game Genie. It didn't have the Codemasters flash, like, splash screen on it. Here we go. It actually just usually just launch right into the screen. So let's try some stuff out. For you youngins out there, back in the day, we had to use a special add-on cart in order to get cheat codes. Well, to mess around with the game more. So you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. Yeah, exactly like the commercials. So it's a Game Genie. Yep. Now, there's two different versions of this game. So there's two sets of codes, and I don't know what version I have. So this could either work or not. It also requires a master code to be put in, which is what I'm doing right now. Now later on, like the successor to this would be a Game Shark. And like even the Pro Action Replay, which would move on to it, the Game Shark, those were nice because you could actually save the codes. But if you turn off the system, this all gets wiped out. You got to put them back in. There's no memory for this. So let's see if this works. Yep, so I had the Super Nintendo one. Never had the Sega Genesis or anything else. The next one I had owned one for would be the PlayStation. It was a Pro Action Replay. And the reason I got that was twofold. One, I had one of the first CD burners ever made, so I could play backups, which means that, yes, I was a pirate. And the other one let me play import games. So yeah, I put in the infinite lives. I have no idea if it worked or not. We're gonna find out. Let's go to something where I can kill myself faster. Yep, it worked. Sweet. Okay. Now I have to get more coins to get out of here. So at the Game Genie, you could do all sorts of cool things, infinite lives and so forth. There's a neat one I'm going to have to show in a little bit. It's with Super Mario World. And it's not something I've seen people discuss or show off. It's kind of like how I know a secret code to Super Empire Strikes Back that's I've never seen published anywhere. And I've never told anybody what it is just because it's kind of fun to know that information. It basically just lets you mess around with the credits in the opening sequence. It's nothing like breaking the game. Do it one more time. And this is also the backup strat for how you get really good, you never see the game over screen. It's because you own a Game Genie. I like this one. I didn't put it in. There's a code. It says pressing select while paused exits any level, not just completed ones. I'm gonna miss the screen, but you know what? I am willing to make that sacrifice. Really bugs me that there's a hook up there. There we go. It's like there's got to be a bonus or something up here. Again! I find it funny that this game lets you go into bonus levels as many times as you want. The first game it was like, nope, you're done. You've done it once, unless you come back and redo the entire level, you're not getting to it again. Oh, it doesn't let me exit. You know what? I was thinking, we'll do this later. After we play more games and stuff. I'm like, let's do it now. Before I get too far in. Give me a second. Looking for a specific code. Here we go. This should do it. Alright, so I'm digging out a game. It's Mario World. When I say digging it out, it's because I have like all the games stacked on top of each other. Quite a few. So since I'm on this like one level right now, it's not too much of a thing to basically stop and come back to it, because I mean I haven't gotten too far into it. Well, there's Donkey Kong Country 3. Not playing that just yet. Shaq Fu? Nope. Super Mario World. Here we go. I might need to clean it. Haven't played this one in a while. Fun fact, if it is indeed fun, Super Mario World was called Super Mario Bros. 4 in Japan. How do I know? I have the cart. There we go. Did you? Are you sure you really knew it? Are you sure you're just not saying that because now you're like, I am just so much in awe, I can't admit it? You know, that Wurzel knew something so profoundly amazing. My life is irrevocably changed. You can admit it. I have like a pile of these Super Nintendo cartridge protectors, and they're all conveniently falling over. Yeah, I know, I have to go back to that game. It's a pain in the butt. Alright, let me input. It's only one code, so I think it's this one if I remember correctly. It's been many years. If this works, you'll know. But it's something that I've not seen anyone really bring up or talk about or show off in, well, basically forever. Something that my brother and I found out screwing around with the game Genie. Well, I never said my wisdom was going to help you. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's upon you. Go and start. So this is all pre-programmed in for the game to play. If you start messing with it, it's still doing the inputs it's used to, but the scripting gets thrown all off. So, I just died. Oh no! Okay. I gotta clean the connections real quick. I just bumped the Game Genie to turn it off, because that's the next step. And it reset. It turned itself off. So, give me 1 second. I will be right back while you stare at these lovely bars. And I can't play music. I don't think I can. Maybe. Unless you guys can hear this. I'm betting probably not. Ah, bummer. I really miss being able to play music. But, so hang tight. Give me about 30-40 seconds. I'm gonna go grab some rubbing alcohol. Be right back. Hang tight. How do you clean your games? rubbing alcohol, Q-tips. That's all you need. Anyone who tells you to use Windex or Brasso, they're not your friends. Do not listen to them. Oh, man. Yeah. Super Mario World, super filthy. Okay, Game Genie connection. Now, normally you're not supposed to blow into the cart. You kind of want to here just to make sure that the rubbing alcohol is dry. It usually is. I don't know, that might lead to a Twitch ban, though. It's like I'm doing such a good job of blowing this cart. I don't know why I put that weird pause in there. I apologize. Yeah, this Game Genie's got some wiggle to it. Alright, let's hope this works. It should. Game over on the intro. Carefully. There we go. So you turn off the Game Genie, back to normal, but you can play the intro level. And if you die, should bring me, I think it brings you right back into it still. Like, you're trapped here until you restart the, restart it. So the Game Genie has a switch on it, and you can turn it off, which will basically turn off the code. And that's it. Yeah, it looks like it may have overflowed on the lives. There's also a weird glitch with the Koopa. But yeah, the intro level, fully playable. Come back, Yoshi. Also, what's really fun is the Japanese version of this game. You can eat the dolphins. Because Japan. Why not? Yeah, so that's basically the entire intro level. You are trapped here. What you can do to get past it, like if you put in the code, as soon as the game starts, turn off the Game Genie and basically hit start right away so you can get into your level selection, like what save file you want to run off of and play the game. And then you avoid the problems that you can still use the super jump code. Okay, so Check this out. Just doesn't really want to release too well. Go back to Donkey Kong Country 2. Game everybody just loves, but me. Yes, you forgot the quotation marks around fun. Alright, so we know that the first one works for this, which is... I just want to say, as a dyslexic, these codes are a nightmare. Like, I'm having to double check everything, make sure it's all going in right. Alright, I'm looking at one last thing to try. Yep, so it only lets you put in a total of 5 codes. Yes, but while I'm an expert at getting the game over screen, it seems that not a lot of people are not too many people are a fan of it. It's kind of crazy, I know. I'm not sure why that is. When I walk down the street, a few times I leave my house, and feel like braving the sunlight, of which I'm highly allergic to. Kids always come up and say, "Hey, you're that guy who sucks. I mean, is amazing at Donkey Kong Country 2. How do you get the game over screen?" Like, be awesome, kid. That's all you gotta be. Be awesome. And allergic to sunlight. Yeah, I've met people who said, like, "Oh yeah, I'm allergic to sunlight." Well, what happens? I just get sunburned. I'm like, do your joints swell and ache up? Do you start running a fever? They're like, no. I'm like, do you get blisters? No. I'm like, then you're not allergic to sunlight. You just burn easily, which is what I was for the longest time. But then there's people like me who's legitimately allergic to sunlight, and it triggers an autoimmune response. Yeah, people are like, "What's your ethnicity?" I'm like, white, to the point where if I take off my shirt on a bright day, I am in danger of blinding flying airplanes up above. So, yeah, I don't take off my shirt. That, and also me being in sunlight regardless before the whole sun allergy thing was like putting a fork in a microwave. It just sparks and a lot of pain. Alright, the Hornet Hole. Hahaha, it works. How do you like that nonsense? I was like, Is this pretty much an invincibility code? No, it can't be. Kind of is. We'll see what happens if I get hit again. Yep. Cheat your way to success, kids. Remember, if the rules are like keeping you down, change them. You're not cheating, you're just thinking outside the box. Creative cheating. I mean, creative thinking. Not cheating. No, definitely no. It's just creative problem solving. Yeah, so they have a code in here that, like, you know, once your character gets hit, the other one comes in. I'm like, wait a minute, that's pretty much invincibility. Interesting, so the DK barrels no longer function. Probably. I'm trying to think of, like, you know, what hex code it's screwed with. That's the only reasonable one, which is why the DK barrels are not exploding. Excuse me. How long of a delay is this? I'm taking a look at the 5 seconds. Okay, not too bad. I was concerned that maybe frames have dropped. If you see frame drops or anything like that, please let me know. First time's free. You guys need some drugs? You're not cops, right? Okay. I just want to point something out here. If you look at the blackboard on the left, I'm pretty sure that's not how the math works. I've heard the phrase, you know, if the math doesn't work, change the numbers, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. I'm pretty sure 4 plus 2 does not equal 5. Maybe if you're in base 7, I think it is, they'll work. But most math we teach is base 10. I was looking at the backboard, I'm like, 8 times 1 is 9. What? Well, who am I to argue with you? You know, if you say it checks out, I'll trust you on this. Thankfully, being 37 years old, I don't have to worry about math tests anymore, but if one ever comes up, you are my source. You got this one wrong. No, I didn't. You talked to King Relic 36. His calculator is good. He said so. Twice. So jump momentum carries forward and flung me right into the spikes. Okay, so the whole coming back switching thing does not work for these levels. Good to know. Ooh, that would have been awesome. You know, like with Killer Instinct, the new game that came out, I say new, it was like 7 years ago, like, what was it, 2012? Wow. But, yeah, it would have been cool to have them in that game. That would have been awesome. Even the original 1994 arcade would be cool. Yeah, so no damage boosting, cheating through that, but I still do have the infinite lives, so I'm still cheating my way to success. It's the American way. Even if you're not American, it still applies. Alright, so remember, jump momentum carries forward. With a bird throwing up walnuts? No, those are eggs. That has to be one severely backed up cloaca, and I am very concerned. I'm not a veterinarian, but that just doesn't seem right. Let me out! Yes, I'm confirming it as eggs. You heard it first. Some rando weird guy on the internet said so, so therefore it's true. This has to be one of the worst roller coasters ever. How was the ride? I don't know. Billy didn't make it. He accidentally jumped up and hit a barrel that killed him. Caused the door to slam shut. I don't even know why they built it into the roller coaster, along with huge gaps. This seems just like a massive OSHA violation. Lawsuit land! Oh really? It's in the trivia question. Okay. Well, I figured it's been like 25 years or something like that since this game came out. It had to have been confirmed by somewhere if it wasn't in the game itself. So I'm playing on a Retro Tank right now, which is limited to 480p, so it's not the cleanest signal, but even with like emulation, you'd be able to get a better look at it too. Speaking of dangerous as hell roller coasters, when I lived near Kansas City, there is a amusement park that's still open called Worlds of Fun. And, oh, neat. Bottom track. But there's a place called Worlds of Fun, and it's known for pretty much killing somebody every 2 to 5 years. And, yeah, there was a roller coaster, I think it was called the Zambezi Zinger. And it was a roller coaster that did not have seats. Like, you sat down, and there was just 2 metal bars around armpit height, but there was no seat belts or anything to hold you in. So you could basically scoot yourself out of it and fall to your death. And this is a roller coaster that is whipping you around. They were hoping on centrifugal force on holding your butt in place. Surprisingly, no one died on that ride. The ride that would do it would be called the Timberwolf, which was a wooden roller coaster, and the person's seatbelt came undone, and they went flying right out to their death. I've heard someone say, well, you know, they loosened their seatbelt. It's like, no, they didn't. Because I went on it after they reopened it, and my seatbelt started to come loose. I had to grab the strap and, like, strap it down. And a person argued with me that once. They're like, no, that's impossible because you have this ride bar that would stop you. It's like, there was no ride bar. This is a wooden roller coaster. There wasn't like a ride bar to like keep you in place. It was just a seatbelt. That was it. Oh no. Well, that's good. I mean, one, that's pretty awesome. It's gonna look really great. I have no doubt of that. By the way, I think it's Viper0, I think is your name. I apologize because I am completely terrible at Twitch names if I totally botch that. I give that speech to everybody who chats in my room if I've never seen you before. But yeah, that sounds pretty cool. But I've seen so many like awesome projects like that where someone's like, hey, I'm remaking this IP that I don't own. And then like a month later, oh, I got a cease and desist. It's like, wait until it's done, put it out, then brag about what you've done, because it's too late at that point. They can issue a cease and desist, they can try to take it down, but it's like the Streisand effect. You put it on the internet, it's there. It's out. It's like when, what was it, another Metroid 2 remake? You know, Nintendo shut that one down because they were coming out with the Samus Returns, which was their version of it. But they didn't, you know, they put it out there before they started talking about it and saying, hey, this thing exists. They didn't do it beforehand, so they were safe. Unlike me remembering to jump there. Yeah, exactly. Someone's like, hey, I'm remaking PT. It's like, that would be cool, because I actually have the PlayStation 4 that has it on there still. But it's, you know, people are like, hey, I'm doing this, and then Konami shuts them down because they're jerks. Because it's associated with Kojima, and they hate everything about it, to the point where they delisted it. You can't even download it again. Well, you can, but it's very complicated. Not the easiest thing to do in the world. But yeah, not even the dark web. I mean, just, I'm sure you can Google it still and download any game like that that's been shut down. By the way, the dark web is hilarious. Especially when you see how it's described on television. Like, oh my gosh, dark web. Terrible. It's like, okay, one, all internets are connected. Surface, deep and dark. And you'd be surprised how boring the dark web is. There is not a lot to it. There are some different things you can find in there, but a lot of it's just dead links and really low-end websites. They look like they were programmed in 1995. Dark web's boring as hell. There's a lot of college papers on there. Research papers. My favorite, though, are the Experian commercials. Like, find out with our service if your information's been released to the dark web. Well, yeah, because you leaked out 150 million people's information. You put it on there. Of course you're gonna, hey, what do you know? Your information's out there. Well, yeah. And also, everything's connected. It's just like, we're gonna do an email search. Well, guess what? All levels of the internet are connected, so all your information on the surface level is still in the dark web, in the deep web, technically. So, of course it's gonna be there. That was dumb. I was thinking, I can get that banana. No. Well, let me tell you that, guy. This entire game is brutal for me. I hate this game. I am cheating right now. I have a Game Genie hooked up with infinite lives and the ability so once you get hit, as long as it's not a auto-scroller like that the other character comes back in. So, yeah, I'm just trying to get through this game. I am doing Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3. Not all at once. I take breaks with other streams playing other games and speedrunning Bayonetta 2. But I was thinking, okay, last year I did Metal Gear Solid 1 through 5. So I'm like, okay, this year, let's do Donkey Kong Country. I like those games. I like 1. 3 is not bad. I hate 2 with a passion. I was thinking, maybe my opinion of the game will change. It hasn't. Oh, geez. Final Fantasy. Well, 4 is where the game gets really good. It's been so long that I don't remember the plots of 4 or 5, really, to be honest. All I remember about 5 is that the main character's name was Butts. And that is not a joke. It legitimately is Butts. And that's the thing, is that, well, Seeking Relic I can do, well, I wouldn't be able to do 11, I don't think, because I don't think that's still active for servers. Maybe it is for PC. I think it was PC. But, yeah, I could do like 1 through 15. That'd be terrible. Everyone likes the music. This is another good David Wise track, but I think the rest as a whole of the soundtrack of this game is not as good as the first game. The first game, I remember when it came out, thinking, wow, this should not be possible on the Super Nintendo. And David Wise did work a lot of magic to get the soundtrack on this game going. And it doesn't really show a lot of it in this game, except for like these few levels like this where you get some really great stuff. But yeah, like Aquatic Ambience in first Donkey Kong Country 1 is amazing. That's a song I heard. I actually paused the game and just listened to it. I was like, the first time I encountered it, I was like, whoa. How long would it take to play Final Fantasy 1 through 15? Probably 2 years or longer. Seeing how I usually stream for about 3 hours per stream on average, and I don't play the games constantly. So I do take breaks. Do my Bayonetta 2 speedruns. So it would be a long time. Hit me again, I dare you. Oh no! How'd that happen? Witchcraft. And why not do it? Well, the reason why is that the first Final Fantasy game's not that great. Final Fantasy 1 is ridiculously hard. Especially like the first fights, you can die very, very easily. 2 is just about as hard. It wasn't too much of an improvement. 3 is, like, I've pretty much forgotten a lot of what 3 was about, but I have played them before. Then 4, I barely remember it. I borrowed it from my friend Patrick. And all I remember is a whale on the moon. A lunar whale. That's pretty much it. And 6 is a masterpiece. 5, like I said, all I remember from that is that butts. That's it. That's all I really remember. Yes, 15 is like food porn. I have it on PC. It is. I also have a PS4 version. It's the base version, so it's not the Royal Edition. Or they basically finished the game 2 years after it came out. Yeah, 1 through 3 is very tough. Alright, Sulfron, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it, because I know how late it is for you. So definitely take care, and hopefully see you again next time. And then also, like, why not do all the Final Fantasies? Because then I have to play number 7. And 7 is not a bad game, but I find that most people overhype it. Because it was their very first RPG. And they're like, Final Fantasy VII was the best one ever. It really wasn't, in my opinion. There were better ones. Seven is alright, but it's not the best game ever, you know, the best RPG ever. And I've heard people say that, but then I ask them the follow-up question, was Final Fantasy VII your first RPG you ever played? And almost always it's yes. And that makes sense, because usually, like, you know, your first big epic story like that is going to, like, leave an impression upon you. But then, like, also, you know, I've also heard people say they didn't like Final Fantasy VIII because it wasn't a sequel. I'm like, none of the Final Fantasy games were a sequel at that point. 10-2 was the first Final Fantasy game to officially have a sequel. So, I know this is, you know, Viper Zero, this is one of your favorite levels. Not me! I said this entire game I'm not really a fan of, but I said I know people really like this game, but I'm not a fan of this game. Octopath Traveler. I've seen it, but I haven't played it yet. I don't own it for my Switch. So I really can't talk about it. It looks like... Well, that was dumb. It looks like a really good, like, RPG, though, like the classic Return to Form. There was also, what was it, I Am Setsuna, which was basically kind of like a Chrono Trigger style RPG too. That was a lot of fun. I like that. I think the Bravely games are better than Octopath. I will say, just based for the soundtrack alone, yes. The soundtrack for Bravely Default is still one of the few RPG games that I listen to actively for the soundtrack. See, it is amazing. I've actually wanted to stream Bravely Default, but I haven't done it yet. And I probably should, because the emulation for it's gotten a lot better to the point where it hopefully won't be a problem. Should probably run an OBS test with it just to see how it functions. Because there is a way you can actually stream your 3DS. I asked John Carls about it, and he told me the whole thing. And he's like, oh, by the way, this is the last step on how you do it. Because you gotta do a couple of different software things to your 3DS. He's like, yeah, it could brick your unit. I'm like, okay, let's not risk this then. Yes, you must finish Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger, in my opinion, is the best RPG ever. Okay, so the bird counts as a hitbox, not my body. Was it my first? No. Chrono Trigger was not my first RPG. I would say, I think it was Final Fantasy IV was, if I'll just stop and think. I gotta like stop and seriously think like what it was. It's probably Phantasy Star 2, I think might have been the first one, but it didn't really capture, it didn't like grab onto me like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I was kind of like, okay, this is different for a game, but Chrono Trigger was the first one where just like everything really clicked. With like the whole time travel aspect, and then multiple endings. And that was a really huge thing. And also the ability to actively avoid fights. Like you could see, there's no more random encounters. You could see exactly where the enemies were, and you could avoid them if you wanted to, which was wild. Pardon me. Oh yeah, Super Mario RPG is another classic. It's another one I've thought about streaming, but I really don't want to stream RPGs because I think that they're more of they're better played by the individual versus watching somebody else play them. It's kind of like I also want to do Tales of Fantasia, but that would be another, like I said, it's another RPG that everybody would have to pretty much read, and then, or I'd have to read everything, and I suffer from chronic laryngitis, so if I talk too much, I can blow out my voice. I can actually feel my voice getting a little raspy right now. I think like RPGs are just better if you actually play them yourself versus watching somebody else. And I understand why people want to watch other people do it. You know, they don't have time to really play the game themselves. It's like watching Let's Plays, and that's understandable. It's like, please let there be a halfway barrel. Yes, thank you. I have Bravely Default. I have not played Bravely Second yet. I really want to. I beat the first game on the 3DS and it was great. But I just never got the second game. Alright, cool. So, as long as I'm not flying, I should have... Yep, I got the... This will work now. Okay. As long as I'm not being flown somewhere, then the cheat works. Yeah, do a text-to-speech for all that stuff? Oh man. For an RPG, that would be huge. That'd be quite the undertaking. Especially, like, since Tales of Fantasia, I have that as a repro cart. And it's done by, like, the translation was done by DJAP, which means that you have, like, really weird swear words thrown in the middle of nowhere. Like, I think the classic line was something about a character fucking like a tiger. I'm like, what? Yes, I know, I'm a dirty cheater. But I fully admit it. I actually showed off a cheat earlier. With, essentially it was a different situation. It was with Super Mario World, where you can play the demo level before you start the game. So all I have to do is basically just start it up, then like having a code like moon jump or mega jump or whatever you want to call it, and Mario still follows its script, but then he dies. And then once he dies, the game reloads, like it reloads up there. Cool, it gave me back Diddy automatically. And then it, like, basically you're stuck inside the demo level. Yeah, Game Genie, basically what it does to very quickly run through it, it allows you to change RAM states inside the game. Basically, it injects code into there to do different things that they know what it will do, like, well, for each game. So basically, you're changing hex code because assembly is what the Super Nintendo is programmed in, all hex code. So by changing a couple values around, you can give yourself, like I have right now, pretty much infinite lives, or change it so that way whenever one of your characters is hit, the other one comes flying back in. But there are limits to it, though. Allows you to do all this neat stuff. Nintendo actually sued Galoob when the Game Genie very first came out. They were saying it was like copyright infringement for their games, and people were using the cheat, and they took Galoob to court, and they lost huge. Gaming Historian did a video of it on YouTube. I definitely recommend to check it out if you've never seen it. It goes into the history of the Game Genie and all sorts of cool things about how it kind of changed into like pro action replay, things of that nature. Alright, Bravely Second's a great sequel. Failed to complete either game, love the story in both. Yeah, so first game gets pretty wild. I don't know how far you got into it, but it was pretty great. The music is awesome. So, like, I'd be playing some of it right now, and I'd have a copyright strike, you know, most likely, from whenever I upload this to YouTube, as part of my archive. But unfortunately, I'm on Elgato software right now, so I can't play any music. But the soundtrack is, like, amazing, especially the final level music is really crazy. It sounds like it should have been, like, Final Fantasy level, like, of the Sephiroth, like, theme. I actually did that one time for Bayonetta 2. I was doing a speedrun, and I put on the final level music for Bravely Default. And, of course, Twitch muted it. Yeah, so I was kind of afraid of, like, if the sequel would actually pull from the story or not. You know, from the ending or the events of the first game. Like, how closely tied it would be to the events of the first game. I didn't know if it was just like a franchise thing, like, okay, or they're just going to go full in, like, okay, this continues like maybe 1 or 2 years after the events of the ending. Okay, finally done the level. Ugh. Yes, finally made it past that level. Unfortunately, there's many more to go. This is like, what, World 4, I think? And there's a total of 8, I want to say, if I remember correctly. Looked it up earlier, I think it was 8. Okay, so you actually got very far into it, so you should have an idea of kind of like where the game is going for its finale. So it looks like you're gonna go see Detective Pikachu tonight. I've heard like mixed reviews about it. Like either people are saying it was really good, or really bad, or some thought it was okay. But joking aside, I've heard like mixed things, so... But either way, I think we can all guarantee it's going to be better than the Sonic abortion that they're working on. So the last movie I saw, and I've been talking about constantly because it was great, was Saga of Tanya the Evil. Great show, good movie to follow it up. Well worth it. Jumping up cart floats make you go faster? That's weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like you have this ending, and then it just keeps going. You have bosses and everything else, and it's kind of like a false ending. Without, like, spoiling the game. Which is kind of hard to do, to keep talking about, like, where it's going to go. But, yeah, it's like the ending is not the end. Alright, off to a great start already on this level. Pro strats. Speedrunning death. Oh, hey, it's Sonic. Oh. Or is that Sargnog the Hark Harg? Oh, I really hate not being on OBS right now. Now we get to, like, the true, like, the final boss, just about. There's music to it, or at least for, I think you're talking about, default. Oops. Alright, give me 1 second. Here we go. Yeah, so this is like the music to the final boss. And this is just like nothing but epic. I've played this during the final fight of Bayonetta 2 in the speedrun. Like I said, unfortunately got it all muted instantly. But it was fun. I mean, the entire soundtrack is amazing. They did a live concert of this in Japan, and I think it's on YouTube now. But I have it. It's like a very expensive DVD. And they went through and did the entire soundtrack. They had the full band there. They had an orchestra. They had singers. It was amazing. It's like a great 2 hours of music. 2.5 hours just about. And what's even more amazing is that like all that music is coming through a 3DS. 3DS has amazing music. And when I was living in my old apartment, I actually had a surround sound system hooked up, which I don't have it right now because I'm living in a smaller room in my parents' house till I get my back fixed, hopefully soon. And I had a Y audio cable, so I would literally output the sound for the 3DS through the stereo system and have it cranking, and it's even better. The 3DS is something like you listen to through the speakers, you're like, it's not that great, but if you plug in headphones or run the audio out to like an actual stereo system, it's great. Now, unfortunately, with the second game, Bravely Second, I've heard some of the soundtrack. They have a different band doing it, so it's not nearly as epic. The soundtrack's all right, from what I've heard, but in my opinion, it just wasn't as good as the first game. Yep, now like, now I gotta finish up the game, listen to the soundtrack. I like my 3DS, but unfortunately I can't play it with my arthritis. Like, and my large hands, my hands just cramp up. So thankfully, emulation exists, and it's actually pretty good. It's like, I bought the Metroid game when it came out, Metroid Samus Returns, I think it is. Let's take a look to my right. Yeah, Metroid Samus Returns. I have it on my shelf. And it's just like my hand just kept cramping like after 10 minutes. And it's like, okay, I can't play this. And then it got ripped up to the internet, and it runs perfectly. And even better, you can actually change the button configuration. Which is like something you can't do on the actual game itself. I don't know why they decided to do it that way. But someone decided, nope, this is your control scheme. This is what you're sticking with. Deal with it. We're Nintendo. We don't care what you want. Well, at least you know you have your 3DS open, so that's a start. You're getting somewhere. Okay, so that roll obviously failed. Oh, nice! Threw me right into the water. Oh, okay, you're in the game. I see what you're talking about now. Okay. That's like one of the most annoying things ever. It's like you're playing an RPG and you haven't gone back to it in a while. You haven't played it in a while, and you're like, I have no idea what's going on or what I'm supposed to be doing. Yep, Sonic. They call him like Cat O' Nine Tails or something like that, but it's Sonic. We all know what it was. Alright. Yeah, got past that level. Cheating like crazy, yes. But I still did it. It's not cheating, it's just creative problem solving. Okay, so these are like bonus levels, I'm guessing. Yep. If I remember correctly, for Donkey Kong Country 3, it's either Cranky or the grandma or like whoever runs a college has like an N64. Hey, it's T. Wallace! Yes, the game needs more Rambi. Lots more Rambi. Well, thank goodness that was there. I know he's stealing lives that I have infinite amount of. How terrible. Talib. Yeah, it's running so fast they decided to make car noises. I mean, who wouldn't? Makes sense to me. Oh no, I went backwards. How will I ever survive without my game genie? So if everybody's apes here, whose skulls are these? Maybe they're ape skulls, I don't know. I need to get Jane Goodall on the phone. No, Jane, please stop crying. It's okay, it's not real. This entire game is an evil thing. So I was talking to somebody that was playing this game, and they told me, like, oh yeah, Donkey Kong Country 2, when Kaizo goes wrong. Like, yes, indeed. Ramby Rumble, here we go, more Ramby. Hopefully, more Ramby. I'm gonna be disappointed if he's not in here. Really? Okay. So one of the things I talked about earlier, and I can't do it right now, is before I started cheating like crazy, is that if you have both Kongs and you lift one up onto your shoulder, you don't get stuck in the honey. You don't have to keep jumping through it. You can just walk through it like normal. That's something I found out like many years ago playing this game when it first came out. I was like, wait a minute. Hey, I found the K. And this is why I don't like Donkey Kong Country games. Because they build up a lot of vertical levels, and if you fall, you can go right back to the start. So remember, this is honey up here. You can walk through it as long as you're partnered up. It does not slow you down. That's where I came in. Okay, that's just the pit to your death. Yeah, I just really can't wait to get Donkey Kong Country 3. A lot of people didn't really like it, or just kind of more apathetic to it. For me, I didn't think it was a bad game. I actually liked it a lot better than this one. it seemed more like a Donkey Kong Country game. It was more in line with, like, the first game, while still keeping some needed improvements from the second. Listen, Kitty's not bad. Kitty is just Donkey is all it is. Literally is Donkey Kong. Here we go. It's like, it says Rambi in the stage, and I haven't seen Rambi yet. Now, while I have the ability to, like, switch back and forth with all the characters, like, one gets hit, the other one runs back, tends to not work with your animal friends, so I don't expect it to really work here. Yep, it does not work. I'm not sure what's going on, but it doesn't sound like it's something good. Unless that was like a glitch or something. It sounded like something might have been chasing me. Not sure. I said, I literally have not played this entire game in like 25 years. Okay, so we're at the boss. Might as well save. I said, save, please. Okay, so if you hit any button before text comes up, it exits you out. Am I going to play Donkey Kong 64? No. Reason why is I do not own it, which is fine because I could emulate it. But I'm not really a fan of collectathon games. I said, it's things that people like, I don't like because I'm just a grumpy old man. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of collectathon games, and Donkey Kong Country 4, or Donkey Kong 64, however you want to call it, was just a huge collectathon. So I didn't really like it. I had rented it back when it was new. I was like, eh. It's like Conquer and, what is it, Banjo-Kazooie, things of that nature. Conquer was kind of okay. It did mix things up, but it still was a collectathon. I'm not sure when I can hit him, or what hits him. If anybody knows, you can feel free to tell me. Okay, so it's the stinger, I guess? I'm just gonna take a wild guess that there's some kind of like color or something that it's telling you about. like indicating, but I'm colorblind, so I can't see it because it just looks like a normal stinger. So I wouldn't think that they would like have a boss fight without telling you where you need to hit them. So it can't be that in any base, because I was thinking like it might be able to do it in base 7, but it's been a while since I started screwing with other bases. Yeah, when I was in college, my teachers hated me. Some of them. My math teacher liked me. She's like, you're too smart for everybody here? It's like, yeah. It's like, I went to school for IT, and we had some people, like, in there who were, like, ex-factory workers and so forth, and they were, like, freaking out, because one of the things you have to take is a math class. And this was, like, all remedial, and I started doing all sorts of crazy stuff. She's like, yeah, it's not everybody you see anybody in here who can do trig and calc. It's like, yeah. Oh, the stinger's red. Okay, because I can't see it. It looks normal to me. The fun of being colorblind. I also had one teacher. She was a pain in the butt anyway. I mean, she'd like intentionally try to fail you if she didn't like you, and we eventually got her fired for that stuff. Because, yeah. Don't do dumb stuff that you can trace back to you, and you'll be okay. But like, she tried to teach, I can't remember what it was, but she was saying something like you can't have negative numbers. It was spreadsheets. She's like, you can't have negative numbers do not exist. I'm like, yes, they do. They're theoretical, but they exist. 0 is not a number, 0 is technically a placeholder. I'm like, yeah, you can have negative numbers. She's like, no, you can't. You know what you're talking about. I'm like, if you ever run a business and you don't have enough money and you go into debt, that's negative numbers. She just got really pissed. She was also really ticked off because I knew the subject matter already, because I used to teach like new hires how to use Excel, Outlook, everything like that. Like, I sent off an email and I had a mistake in it, so I did a recall. And she's like, and she got like the recall message, like, your message was successfully recalled on X date. You know, and it's been deleted from your inbox from, you know, Ken Williams. She's like, how did you do that? It's like, she thought like I had hacked the system or something. I'm like, you're teaching Outlook and you don't know how to recall a message? Okay. So, yeah, we clashed quite a lot. Come on, let me shoot something in your face. Say if it was a nut, it'd be funny because you can just nut in their face, which sounds horribly dirty, and it is. Ugh. So they're like, hey, that bird that's kind of hard to control, let's have a boss fight around it. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm failing miserably. You gotta hit it just right. What I really need is like a death counter. Lord knows how many I'd be up to already. Rare contacts me. Yeah, sure, we haven't made this game in a long time, but we've never heard anybody dying so much. We didn't know that was even possible. We programmed the game to just like let you win. We don't know how you kept dying. I use WinRAR. Some people just use 7-zip. So I think WinRAR will open 7Z files now. But yeah, 7-zip will do it if your copy of WinRAR won't do it. Yeah, you should be able to at least, you know, unless it's like in the installer or something, just open up whatever it's compressed and pick what you want to extract. If somebody's just bundling a whole bunch of stuff into it. Couldn't see him. Oh yes, you reflect magic, it's like, oh, here's the instant win button. I also like how through most of the game, they're like, well, if you use the brave function in a fight, you know, you might run out, you know, and then you leave yourself really vulnerable to taking damage. But the odds were, like, every single time, like, as long as you were leveled properly, it was just like you would just win. You just brave everybody in your team, and then just wipe them out with multiple attacks. Didn't really become too much of a problem until, like, the end of the game. The end parts, then you really couldn't, like, blast through. It had to be a little more strategic. You had to use more strategery. Yeah, 7-zip's not bad. I remember for a while though, like, WinRAR didn't actually support 7-zip, which is kind of weird. And now it should be in there. I mean, I don't have too many 7-zip files. Try to get up too fast. You know, the game, like, Bravely Default just gives you a whole lot of different jobs. I would say probably maybe, like, close to the halfway point or so of the game. It's like, hey, you have all these different things you can do now. And it's still only, like, 3 or 4 classes are still really good, worth having. Like, Swordmaster is really good. This thing homes onto you and moves faster than you do. Please be dead. Finally. Head back here just to save. Alright, so let's go check out the new place. The new level that I've unlocked through superior gameplay and definitely not relying upon the Game Genie that I bought and codes on the internet. Definitely none of that. Pure skill in putting those codes. Gloomy Gulch. Sounds like a nice, happy, fun place. Oh yes, the sperm ghost ropes. You know it. You know you're thinking of it. Or like joint ghosts, if you're into 420 stuff. Allegedly into things like that, we'll say. Because we're all law-abiding people. Wouldn't dare do anything like that. That'd be terrible. Why did you even bring that up? I mean, you should feel shamed. Shame! Yeah, Funky's theme is pretty good in this game. So I like this theme. This is a pretty good one, like, for this level. It's very relaxing, which is not really what you expect for most of this game. The frenetic action and so forth. This is another one that has this sweeping, like, David Wise soundtrack to it. That's another thing that shouldn't really be possible, but is. But it just takes a lot of weird programming. I also like how you can see, like, the light rays coming through. You can see, like, what looks like, you know, like mist kind of moving through it, which is something that now 3D games use all the time. And, of course, they had to figure out a way to cheat it, you know, with the old Super Nintendo. It even moves, which is something you just don't see in these classic games. Yeah, that would have been very, very bad. Yeah, it really was some really neat tricks. Just to get, you know, out of old hardware at this point, because they were still expecting the Nintendo 64 to be coming out, which was hilarious looking back on it. Because they're like, oh yeah, it's coming out in 1994. 1995, 1996 it finally came out. And like late 1996 in America at least. But I will tell you though, that the Nintendo 64 was mind-melting when it came out. Because I got my hands on the Japanese Nintendo 64, 3 months before the American version came out. And like literally my brother and I spent 30 minutes running around outside of Peach's castle. Just like gobstocked at like 3D gameplay. So close. And it's like it's one of those things like it's hard to describe to people now if you didn't live through that when it came out. Like how game changing and how like much of a paradigm shift Nintendo 64 was when it released. It quickly faded into, you know, not as popular of a game system. But when it first came out, it was like the first 3D system. And it was huge. I mean, it was the first time you actually had real 3D movement. And it was funny because I had it 3 months before it released here in the States. And I had like people showing up to my house, like kids I knew from high school. They're like, hey, can I come in? I'm like, no. They just go over to my house wanting to come in and just play Nintendo 64 because they knew I had it. It was funny though, because like I remember when I first got it, I called my friend Pat. I was like, hey man, I got it. And it's like, I think he must have run like a half a mile just about, in probably, I'd say a good 30 seconds. It was one of those things like, you could almost hear the phone receiver drop, and then like, Pat, are you there? Are you there? And then next thing I know, it was like pounding on my door. Let me in! Oh, poorly timed. Well, this is interesting. Pretty sure this is a result of me screwing around the game Genie. Pretty sure. Yeah, the game is really wigging out. Like, go home game, you're drunk. Well, technically you are home because it is my home and I bought this, so... yeah. Stay where you are. Let's see if it happens again. It does! Because it's got to be because of the Game Genie code. Even the ghosts aren't sure what to do. They're just keep respawning. Great, so even the game is like not sure what to do because technically we're not on the cart right now. One character's trying to run to get onto it. Oh, we found a problem now. So that causes a soft lock. I'm trying turning off the Game Genie very carefully. Nope, soft locked it. Awesome. See, this is what you get for being a dirty cheater. So I guess the next time I play this, I'll of course put on like the infinite lives, but I can't have the one where basically, what was it? It's called when your last con gets hit, the other one returns. So that won't be doable, but that's okay. Turn on the game volume a lot for a little bit for right now. So I'm actually going to end the stream right now. I've been playing for about 3 hours or more. So of course I want to thank about everybody for hanging out. So that's King Relic, Viper Zero, Nimix, T Wallace. Always good to see T Wallace, and I know, let's see, that guy from K1, Kentucky most likely. I'm terrible at Twitch names. And then we had MNVLM. And we had Silveron. We had a lot of people show up. And of course, everybody lurking in chat. That's always cool too. And especially Viper Zero, thank you very much for following. So I do try to stream every single day around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you don't know when it is, just basically copy and paste what I put into chat right now into Google. And it'll tell you for wherever you are in the world what time it is. If you feel like coming back and you're not following, that's fine too. You can always check me out on Twitter at Orzel555. I usually post up around 2 or 3 hours in advance when I'm going to be streaming, and just kind of give you an idea what's heads up. If I need to delay for whatever reason, like if there is a technical problem comes up or too much pain because I have back problems, something like that, I'll always post on there to let you know if the stream's canceled or delayed for a technical problem. So next stream, most likely we'll do probably another Bayonetta 2 speedrun, or at least attempt it. I tried to do that last stream and everything just went horribly sideways. So probably do that, or I might do some retro games, take a little break from Bayonetta for a day or two and heal up. I might do some retro, thinking maybe some more FMV games, those are always fun, or at least I enjoy them, especially Space Pirates on 3DO, that's a blast. We'll figure out something. So definitely want to thank everybody for hanging out. I'm on the Elgato software, so I don't have the ability to do a closing video. Let me see if anyone's streaming. Not really. Let's see what Speed Gaming's up to. Doing a randomizer. Yeah, it looks like it's still going on, so we'll host them. Yeah, it's pretty dead for people going through, but yeah, so hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. We'll figure out what it's going to be. I'll post up to Twitter. But thanks for hanging out, and I will see everyone next time.